Hello, everybody. We are Geeks Assembled. It's spooky month in October. So today we're going to explore the classic 1973 film, The Exorcist. So get your green pea soup ready as we dive in. So shall we start with this week? I haven't seen this, but by the way, because I'm unfortunately internet trouble. So I'll be hosting for these two lovely gentlemen who have seen it. So let's start with Tim, who's watched it so many times he doesn't need to watch it again. So let's see if his memory holds up.
Well, this is a true classic horror film. It's one of a kind. I mean, it literally came out nearly 50 years ago at this point. It's a groundbreaking film, and it was very upsetting for a lot of people at the time. There's a YouTube video where they're interviewing people in the theaters who just can't get over what they're seeing. They've never seen anything like this before. They literally get dizzy, they faint, they have to get taken out or picked up. So it was a very shocking film of its day, and it tapped into a whole lot of current politics of the time as well. So it's a very revolutionary. It was based on a novel of the same name, which is actually a very good novel. The novel, well, let me put it this way: the director Friedkin did a very good job of adapting the novel into a film, because he had to cut out a lot of character development. But he still manages to create or make these characters work in this film, because the main thrust of the film is the possession of a little girl. But the way the film is set up is it's like a good versus evil. That whole business at the beginning in Iraq, where you see Father Marin standing up against the statue in the frame. You know, it's just like, oh wow, because that's the demon, the statue of the demon that infests the little girl. Yeah, and that's all there. There's also some good stuff, interesting stuff with the character of the mother herself, who's just kind of like knocked out by this whole experience, because she's not even a religious person. She's just kind of like, why is this happening? She doesn't even believe it's happening for the most part. And then, you know, there's other characters. My favorite is actually Lieutenant Kinderman, I think his name is. He's the police officer that's sent to investigate what happened to Chris, the mother's director, who suddenly died on the steps outside her house. Now this guy's a drunk, but so everybody assumes he fell down these stairs. But everybody who's watching the film kind of has a feeling something else happened. They don't show it on screen. They're very clever. They don't show any of this on screen, and it's very cleverly set up, because this guy's a detective and he's starting to put two and two together, even though he has no. And he also sees the priest coming and going from her house, so he talks to the priest as well. Anyway, I'm probably losing it here. It's the truth is, it's a very good movie. Very good special effects, practical effects. You didn't have CGI in those days. So in fact, they had to work in a refrigerated building just to get the smoke on their breath, you know. And the sound design is what's really effective, because you'll hear some unbelievable sounds that are all mixed together very well, and some voices and stuff like that coming out of the little girl. And it's all done very well. I had it on without sound the other evening when I was in a cast with some people, and I noticed it's not nearly as effective without the sound, obviously. But it's the sound that is what really freaked people out in the theater, I think. You have this voice coming out of this little girl, Linda Blair, and I don't know, it's just a freaky movie. It's a classic horror film that really holds up well even today, even though it might be a little bit slow for some at the beginning. That's my open. So.
Over to our own Lee.
Yeah, well, I wonder what you was going to say then. Yeah, I mean, I've read articles on this when it was released, in '73, that there was nuns and priests outside the theatres with leaflets telling people not to go in to watch the movie. That's good promotion for the movie, isn't it? Yeah, it is a classic. As Tim said, it's a bit slow going at the beginning. It does, but then with the possession as it takes hold of what's in it, Regan. It's just amazing. I mean, how old was she when she did this? What, 11, 12?
I think she was 12.
12, yeah. I mean, amazing for a young girl to do this. All the makeup on, be tied to the bed, to, act against Max von Sydow and all like that. What an amazing opportunity! what an amazing little actress. It's just been nasty to all these grown-ups. Yeah, I mean, some iconic scenes in this. I mean, with Max von Sydow as he comes out the taxi outside the house with the lamplight and the little
Yeah.
mist is so iconic, and the stair, the scene of just the stair is iconic as well, and of course the use of Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells music is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once you hear that music, you always think of The Exorcist now. But yeah, enjoy. I mean, I sat down and I haven't watched this for over 10 years or so, so it was good to sit down and rewatch this. And it just proves to me how good an actor Max von Sydow was. I mean, he always played older. I mean, he was what?
Yeah, he's quite young in this. He was made up to be older. And the funny thing is, you see him in more recent films where he is much older and he looks like he did then.
Yeah.
The makeup was that good.
I mean, I didn't realize, as Tim said, I didn't realize there was in a refrigerated room. But because when I was watching it, I was thinking, how did they get in that the mist? That I thought, oh, they must have just turned the heating off or something. But well, it's really enjoyable. Is it dated? It's slightly dated now, but the effects for back then,
revolutionary.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I've seen all the Exorcist movies. As you say, the policeman, he returns in Exorcist 3, played by a different actor, of course, because Lee J. Cobb passed away in '76. I think George C. Scott played him in Exorcist 3.
Yes.
Very similar looking actors, though. Yeah, to have Lee J. Cobb playing that, because he was a big actor at the time, it was really a small part for him. You know?
It's an amazing part, though. I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons. I mean, if you want to get onto what favorite scenes are,
Yeah,
he knows that there's something afoot in this house. Yeah. He loves this actress because he's a big movie fan, and he loves this actress. He's seen her in several things, and so he goes there to talk to her about the death of her director who passed away on the steps outside.
Yeah.
And he tells her that the force with which he was mangled doesn't look like a fall from down the steps. It looks as if he was pushed from the window upstairs. And he tells her this, and she's just over there like with her back to him, just like, because like she's having a really bad time with this. She doesn't know what's going on with her kid. She doesn't know what the hell's going on, and like all this is just starting to catch up with her. And of course Ellen Burstyn plays it very well. But meanwhile this guy is basically like a Columbo type character who didn't exist yet, I think. But he's a bum. He plays it dumb. He plays like a bumbling cop, and he like asking for her autograph and all that, even though he's probably a little smarter than he lets on, and he knows there's something going on. But you're right, it's a very small part. He just shows up at the end after the aftermath, and he's kind of there looking in the door like, wow, what's going on here? Because there's the girl crying. Yeah. And there's the business with somebody falling from the window is set up there with his conversation with Chris, because that's what happens at the end. The priest, Paris, the priest kind of inhales the beastie and then jumps out the window to save the family, and it basically does the same thing that happened to the director. So, I mean, very clever. This movie is very clever. And most of that's from the director of the film, Friedkin, because he managed to adapt what's a pretty long book into a 2-hour movie, and it really works well.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah. Come on, Mr. Host.
You can consider. Can I bring up one thing? Because obviously during my escapade into researching various murderers, didn't a member of this cast or behind the scenes crew end up being a murderer? I swear I read on Wikipedia, I was looking for various things, that someone in this crew ended up being a serial killer.
I've never heard that, but I've heard that the actors and some of the crew felt like the production was kind of cursed because, for one thing, a couple of people were injured on set. Ellen Burstyn had a back injury when that scene when she gets pulled back, or she gets hit by the daughter and knocked down on the ground, and the drawers, I mean the dresser drawers come at her. She got injured during that scene, and she was never happy after that with the director. She said, you know what, you're not supposed to let us get hurt when we do this stuff. And so she has bad memories about working on it. But
and didn't they use real human bones as well? I remember reading somewhere.
oh, at the
Am I
beginning,
thinking of a different film?
no, at the
'Cause
beginning, there's an excavation going on in Iraq, but I don't remember. They find some
paranormal activity, not
artifacts.
the poltergeist. I might be getting confused
I
with
mean,
the poltergeist.
talking of case sort of movie, I mean, the actor who played the director, he died straight after filming his part.
Hmm.
So I don't know whether that's why you never saw the on-screen window down the stairs scene.
No, I don't think so. I think that's one of the things that makes it work so well, because it's basically a mystery in the middle of a movie. It's not a mystery film at all, but it's basically, that's why that whole business with Kinderman, the policeman, is kind of there. He's sniffing around, and it kind of it makes the movie move a little quicker, because like as the scene when he's interviewing the mother, kind of shows you that she's running out of time. Things are getting really out of hand now, and now she finds out that basically she knows now that her daughter murdered her director, Burke Dennings. She literally twisted his head around and threw him out the window. But all that's just implied. They never really come out and say that. They just say, but that's what happened. That's basically what happened in the film.
I mean, for a good half an hour to 40 minutes of the movie, they're experimenting on the girl, the doctors and that, because they don't know what's going on. They're putting her through all these tests. And then finally, at the end of it, they say, "Well, we don't really know. Have you tried? You've tried an exorcism?"
That's bizarre.
All medical science hasn't proved we can't do anything, which is, it's amazing. It's an amazing movie. It's one of these ones. I'm just amazed with the actress who played the girl. Was it Blair?
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair. What she did with that role, and what they got a 12-year-old girl to do and say, especially with the crucifix, that crucifix scene with down in the nether regions,
very disturbing.
Very, and the words as well about sucking socks in hell.
Oh yeah,
you see what I did there? I changed the word.
It's almost funny. It's almost a metaphor for. I've heard it said that it's like a metaphor for what parents of the day were going through with their teenage children, because every teenager ends up being a headache to the parents in a lot of ways, because they, all those mixed whatever hormones going on and making them act. They want to be adults, but they don't want responsibility and all that stuff. But that's basically what this demon symbolizes: is a teenager being really awful to the grown-ups, like you said, in the room. It's just like it's like a metaphor for that. But it's a very effective movie. I think it's a great horror film. It gets made fun of a lot. A lot of younger people don't really take it that seriously, because they've seen better effects these days, and jump scares. Everybody's about the jump scares. But
for me personally, it's about a good story.
It's a very good story. It's amazing.
If the story is good, they should have no problems with it.
Yeah. Amazing special effects of the time. Very, very much so. It doesn't really look fake at all.
No,
there's a couple of scenes.
By the end of the movie, Linda Blair is just unrecognizable with just the makeup on, and especially with with the tongue. That was just so amazing. That's it, just like that, Jake. Over to you, Jake.
Right. So, do you want to wrap it up? Have you spoken about what you both wanted to talk about?
I can't think of anything else.
I just think it's a classic. It's a classic. It's a classic of its time, and it's held up pretty well for this many years. It's still one of the best horror films ever made, I would say.
I agree.
Then. I guess I'll wrap it up then. I'd like to thank you all for watching.
Hold on a minute, we haven't scored it.
Oh, sorry, shit.
It's easy 10. Easy
And
10.
time for final say and score. Over to Tim.
It's an easy 10 for me. It's an amazing film. It scared me when I was young, and I grew up. It doesn't scare me anymore, but it's still an amazing piece of work. So, yeah.
Over to Lee.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. It did scare me when I was younger. I was confused when I watched Exorcist 3, because the certain actor reappears in Exorcist 3. Last we see of him is at the bottom of the stairs in the movie of this movie. But that when we get to Exorcist 3, we'll try to explain that one.
It's a different kind of film. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's more of a murder mystery film. What am I going to? Yeah, I'm going to give it a 10. Of course I am.
Right then, I think now I can wrap up. Sorry about that. I'd like to thank you all for watching. These two lovely chaps are bothering to show up and joining me. If you want to take part, just hit us up on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Comment below if you also think this film is a classic like Tim and Lee do. And then, ring that bell, subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. Get your pins, because we'll be reviewing Hellraiser.